Who else is on? Oh, Tay's in her car. Where are we going today, Tay? We can see you, but we can't hear you. But you look good. The sunglasses look awesome. We can't hear you yet, but your sunglasses are still cool though.
Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. What's up?
So, why can't I hear you guys, bro?
Oh, really? We can hear.
I know why. I have like my usual ear stuff died, so I'm using this other one, but it's noise control, and I hate it. Like it's weird on my ears. I cannot hear outside of my calls. I don't like it. Anyway, so had a closing this morning. Well, that it's a property that I'm losing a lot of money on. So
Oh no. How come?
It's like bittersweet. It's like I'm so glad we're done with it. So it was a bit of a not a nightmare, but anyway. And then I have my rental here on Maui. My tenants are moving out, so I had to go do the final walkthrough and collect keys, and then see what we got to do. You know, put some paint, maybe flooring, update a little bit, and then put it right back on the rental market.
Yeah.
So yeah, had to do that.
Tell us about the property that you lost money on. How come? What happened?
So bought it last year, and when the market was still good.
Yeah. And where's the property? Maui?
No, it's in Indiana, the city of Westfield. It is a nicer area, so it's north of Indianapolis. And so last year when it appraised way higher than we got it at, and I wanted to just wholesale it, kind of like just a big cleanup, yard cleanup, interior cleanup, do nothing, put it right back on the market. And then I had partners on it, and they're like, well, it's our, we want to do a actual deal. I'm like, okay, cool, let's do it. And then, I mean, basically, we were thinking that we would sell it for around 800 minimum, and then we listed it a bit higher, and it didn't sell. Basically, by the time we were done with the renovation, the market really shifted. And when you list something really high over there, that's like the $6 million range here, right? Like over there, regular homes sell for $250,000. Once you get into that little nicer area, it starts around 500, and then it goes above a million over there. So we kind of expected to sit on the market a bit. But then we ended up sitting on the market way longer than we thought. So we needed to sell, I think, I want to say like 700 or a little over 700 in order to like at least break even. And we closed today at 600,000. So it's a rough one.
100,000 less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rough one. So all of my, I have some, basically now I'm going to wait to get my other flips sold, and, put it back into this loss.
Yeah. Did you have, was that basically, so that's break even was at 700. So you basically had to split the loss and everybody had to come up with money at the end?
Well, yes and no. We have private money lenders on it. So I'm just extending the note for one of them. Yep.
Yeah. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah. And I was communicative with everyone throughout. Like as soon as I saw like, I don't know if we're going to make this, right away. And I'm like, don't worry, we're going to pay you. It's just going to take longer than we expected. So yeah, I don't want to say that they're on board necessarily, but they understand and they'd rather see their money, right? And they're still going to earn. We're not going to not pay interest on it.
Yeah, that's the right
way. But we're getting a big chunk off for sure. Like, I think the last I can't say exactly when, but the last few months, you know, the monthly, like we didn't raise more money in order to make it happen. I just was paying from like the capital, my own capital, sort of. But lots of good lessons learned, honestly. Like it was, yeah, there was some good stuff, and I'll be doing a lot of things really differently.
Yeah, what
And
I was just gonna ask you that question is what are those things that you will do differently? Because that's always the best. It's the best of the worst, yeah. Like it hurts, it's bad, you lose money, you worked all that time, energy, and then you're like, oh, I get nothing. But you get lessons. So what are
yeah,
those
so
lessons?
lessons, uh doing something with partners, like doing a better job with partners, more communication more often. um I feel like upfront expectations were good, but better upfront expectations. What else? If I buy something with like that much equity as is, but then doing a renovation and adding the holding costs might not necessarily make it a tight deal, but there's a risk. I just have to like gauge my risk factor better. We thought we were going to be in this deal in and out 6 months, and halfway through the renovation, the market really changed and the rates tripled or doubled. So I don't know, just like go with my guts more.
Yeah.
Um, and also project management. I just definitely realized over the last year and a half, I'm not strong with managing projects because I'm not good with confrontations. So
Oh,
I cannot be
interesting.
the person to do that. I can negotiate, I can empathize with people, obviously, but when it comes to like, I can't be a dick. So I
Yeah.
gotta I gotta find someone else to be the bad person, the bad cop, I guess. But you know, someone, I don't know. There's just I met several people, right, over the last few years of investing where they're not dicks, but they get their point across. And like I need to either learn that or just not be that person if it's really hard for me to be, yeah, that person. So
Yeah.
that's why I really like partnerships where I trust that that person, like the whoever I'm partnering with, I trust that they can be they are good project managers, they are knowledgeable, and we're following the timelines and that kind of stuff.
But
I love
you know
it.
what?
I love it.
See, like I would I just like I know you can, like it is something you grow into, and part of growing into like that role is unfortunately having to take deals like this, that kind of sting a little bit, and that's what I've kind of I think that's like Kiko and I mean we've taken our lumps too, just like everybody else. So
Oh,
uh,
bro, we haven't taken lumps. We've taken like cracks.
yeah,
Take
we taken
these are
some
the
big ones,
lumps.
and
We've had some cracks, bro. So it's all,
yeah.
but we learned so much, and it
Yeah.
anyways, keep going, keep going.
No. That's the thing. It's like you just mature as an investor, you mature as a leader, as a company owner, and it just by default, it's part of the process. Like going through, like I mean, you're not the only one that lost money this past year. Like, honestly, anybody that was like bought in 2021 was probably facing the same thing. It's probably many people on this call. And I know this because I see it all. I see it all on our loan tapes. I see it on everyone else's loan tapes. We have data, we have software to scrub all kinds of data now. And it's not just Hawaii thing because permitting issues, it's actually nationwide. Most loans are going to maturity. So actually the big loan product out there right now is just bridge refis for people who are in fix and flip loans with all the companies that kind of didn't make it, like Civic and just name them. They're not around anymore, but they still had loans that are coming mature. So I'd say like, yeah, don't give up on aspiring to take that role, because honestly, if you're flipping houses, like you have to be that, and but you're right,
Yeah.
there is a way to communicate with authority, take authority. And I think what it really is, because I noticed this with our guys who are, doing the loans, is that you have to set expectations, because like when
Yeah.
you set expectations, like very clear, very direct upfront with everyone you're working with, then when the time comes to hold people accountable, it's a lot easier. It really
Mhm.
is. But you really got to be upfront, and when it's time to take authority, it's in the beginning.
Yeah.
You can't take authority later on when the train's rolling. You're the one calling the shots. I'm talking to the room too. It's like, if we're gonna sign on the loan for that kind of money, then we do need to be that person. And it is hard, but like set expectations up front with all your team, contractors, investors, everyone that's going to touch that project, right? Like set expectations, let them know how it's going to run, and you don't have to be aggressive about it. Just take authority, like, and then it makes it a lot easier for when, shit hits the fan down the project, which it will, right? So, okay, cool.
I do
Yeah.
like what Tay said though, just about knowing your strengths as well. I think that's super important. Like Corey and I have always in our relationship have always valued each other's strengths because we're so different. Like you put us in a car together for any length of time, you realize we're so different. I'm talkative, he's more quiet. I'm more obnoxious, he's more polite. I need to go shishi more often than he has to shishi. I mean, there's so many different aspects about us, but also in the business side is great because, Corey's much more analytical and much more pessimistic, and I'm much more optimistic, and I'm more the
Realistic, bro.
let's all be huggers. Yeah, you're realistic and pessimistic. But but it's good. It balances it out. So I think that Tay, that is super valuable, and for everybody on the call, is just know what your strengths are. And sometimes, there's that need to strengthen our weaknesses. And then just like you said, sometimes you bring in somebody else. Corey and I often are like, hey, Brian, you're going to be the bad guy on this one, and I'm the good guy, because sometimes you need good cop, bad cop, right? And so Jacob is on a deal with us in Tacoma, and it's a triplex, and Jacob has not a lot of experience, has never project managed anything before, but on this project he was the bad cop, and he's the guy who's been working with the contractors, and he's actually enjoyed it, to a certain degree, and he's learned so much. So I say that because sometimes we don't need to find someone to strengthen our weakness who has a big resume. They just got to have the right heart and the willingness and availability to do that role. And so like Jacob, he was really honest early on. He's like, bro, I got no experience. Like I have no idea what I'm going to do, but I'm going to try my best. And so that's great. And so we had him do some stuff, and it's turned out awesome because, just the other day, Jacob's like, hey, bro, you email him because he responds to you, you're nicer. It's like, okay, so we got the bad cop, good cop thing. And that's important because you're right, Tay. Sometimes with subcontractors, you need somebody to be the bad cop and be like, bro, you ain't getting paid. We're pissed. You've done crappy work. You set us behind. It's costing us thousands of dollars. We will be filing a suit against you. Somebody's got to say that. You and I are kind of like, we're like, we'll say that. And then we're like, can I give you a hug though? I'm sorry. Did that hurt your feelings? So, but it is important. So I think that's,
and I'm definitely navigating a like a growth curve right now with my personality, and I'm uncovering things I never knew, like some strengths and some weaknesses, right? Things that I never knew I possessed or lacked. So it is, I don't know, it's good. It's good at the end of it. And so I definitely went through the depression, the cry sessions, and the no sleep for a bunch of things. And I sought guidance from people that have been doing this for like 10, 15 years, right? Corey being one of them. And like across the board, everybody was like, not necessarily congratulations, but like part of it, like get through it. You're going to get through it. You'll fall back on your feet. Don't worry. it's gonna be rough, but you'll also learn so much from it. You know, these things, you'll never make the same mistakes. And then the other thing I was bummed about was that I'm pretty much liquidating a lot of my rentals because I do have a lot of equity in a lot of the rentals. So after refinancing, I'm still able to sell and make money. And I was bummed because I think my ego was hurt a little bit because I worked so hard to get all these properties, blah 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 blah. But I then flipped it and thought, well, you're so super blessed that you have these options. Some people lose with zero options and they work, you know, another like 2 years to pay off these private lenders. You're gonna be able to get back on your feet a bit faster because you still have deals, you're still getting deals, you're still able to sell some property. So I'm trying to stay positive. It was just really dark, like really, really, really dark for a bit there. Um, but yeah, like I don't know, like I'm gonna move on. I know that. So
Thanks
Yeah.
for your honesty. It is dark.
Gosh, yeah.
It's hard.
Thank you.
You lose sleep. It's hard, just the thought of losing money and then knowing you got private investors on there that trusted you with their money. Like it's frustrating. And then you got your partners who are like, well, whose fault is this? Who should have done something better? Who should have done it differently? And then we start blaming ourselves. We should have done it better. We should have done it different, so it goes on and on. But I got to tell you, and this is for everybody.
I'm just gonna give up on everything. Like, oh gosh, all
yeah, no. You're being super honest. And that's where a lot of real estate investors just bail out, and they're just like, I give up, I'm a failure. But and some people should get out because they're a failure and there's no way of coming back. But what makes you successful and what makes many of us on the call successful, and it's so important, and I loved what you said, is the one thing that you have that sets you apart from everybody else is integrity. And that's why you can't give up and you should not give up, is because I have a very much a story, and Corey does as well. I've got 100,000 in with an investor who hasn't paid me back. And because when that deal went south, they flew the coop and they're like, everybody else is going to get screwed, but I'm going to protect myself, and that person is never going to do business again. But for someone like you and me, Corey, and the people on this call, it's like, you know what, when something goes bad, we're going to have our pity party. We're going to get pissed. We're going to cry. We're going to sit in the corner and get, whatever, drunk, smoke, whatever we got to do, right, to feel better for that moment. And then we got to pick up. And the thing that we have that gets us moving forward is integrity, because your lenders are going to get paid. Your partners are all on the same page. And so you're going to keep doing business. And when you don't have integrity, then that's where you got to close up shop, right? For all of us. But I think I talked to everybody to say Tay is such a good example of, life doesn't go great in real estate investing. Life's not perfect and things are going to get really hard. And if you haven't had a bad deal yet, just wait. If you do enough deals, you will have a bad deal. And if you do enough deals beyond just having a bad deal, you're going to have a nightmare deal. Like everything's going to go bad. Contractors are going to go bad. Partners are going to go bad. Lenders are demanding money and things are going to go really bad. But if you have integrity, then it changes everything, because it means I ain't bailing. And because I ain't bailing, it means we're going to figure this out. And no matter what it takes, we're going to pay you back. We're going to try to make everybody whole. And if anybody suffers, a person with integrity says, I suffer first and I will suffer last. So, and that's what you have, Tay. And I think that such a good lesson for all of us in real estate. We don't talk about it enough because HGTV highlights, the successes, and everybody on their Instagram reels like, oh, made 100 grand, oh, made 50 grand, and it's also cool. But, you don't see too many of, whoo, I lost 100 grand, but that's the reality of real estate investing. It's so the other part of REI, real estate investing, is real estate integrity. And I think, Tay, you've got that for sure. And I'm just proud to be in the same room with you and sharing mana'o and experience and opportunities together. I think it's a real blessing for all of us. Sorry, I just kind of started preaching there, but Tay,
No,
stay with it.
I love you, bro. Like, cause
and a couple other things is not in a bad way, but my ego, I think like it was a good like lesson for so many things, not just the business, but for on the personal side. My ego got checked, and I don't think of myself as cocky or pretentious like whatsoever, but my ego just got checked, and like it was a good like reset for that. And sorry, I got a call. And so the ego and the thing that I don't really like is that I lost a lot of my confidence. Gaining back, but I lost a lot of my confidence as well. So there's like that fine line of like rebuilding that part as well right now.
I think you're doing it the right way though. You gotta talk to people who've been there too, you know. Like Keiko and I, we've been there times, you know, 7 actually. And we've talked about it before here. We're open because I think because it's just important to talk about this stuff, you know, like I think I mean the on Instagram, like that's the highlight reel, you know, and we have to always remember that. Like we've seen the dark side of this business, you know, we've seen people get hurt. And that is a good reminder for like Keiko and I, you know, because that it is real. Sometimes you get numb to the numbers, the zeros, you know, like especially in high dollar markets like we're like a lot of us are in. So and that too, when things go bad, it can amplify. Like if you haven't done the homework on yourself too, right? Like I mean, self-help, you know, stuff, and read your books and all that, and discover who you are. Like, what is your principles? Like, what values do you live by? And that way, when things go wrong, and usually people get emotional, they panic, and then if they don't have those guardrails in place, if they haven't done the homework on themselves, you know, beforehand, they would probably make a reckless decision, you know, and panic and be like, I have to protect myself, I'm sorry, you know, and just bail, you know, like we've seen multiple times. So I credit you for, you know, publicly talking about it. You know, nobody likes to talk about bad projects and losses, but honestly, that's like the most important thing. You know, like it's not, we don't want to always, you know, talk about the downside of this business, but it's necessary to talk about it, you know, and we can all learn from each other's experiences. And you're not the only one. I know you're not the only one. Like there's many people out there, like and you know what, it's what I feel is it's the backlog of inflation, because how come nationwide we're seeing this whole trend? And this is what inflation looks like, you know, supply chain disruption, which causes materials and timelines and logistics to get all pushed back months. You know, I'm sure a lot of us have been in that situation, you know, like we had long lead times, and then you have shortage of workers, right? Shortage of appraisers. So everything just got backed up and took forever. And this is why we're here with so many people coming to maturity on fix and flip loans across the nation, you know. So you're not the only one, Tia. If anything, like I'd say you're growing the fastest because you are putting yourself out there. You had the courage to make phone calls and ask for help, you know, and swallow your pride, you know, because most people would have the pride, you know, and like they want to keep like try to solve the problem by themselves. And like, so because it could be, they don't want to be embarrassed or something, you know. But what I credit you for is like I would do the same thing, and I have done the same thing. You know, I have made those phone calls, and you know, for me, it's like I think it's like an Asian thing, a Japanese thing, maybe. It's death before dishonor, you know, and I honestly, that is how I am. I'd rather die than face the shame of losing someone's money or letting somebody down at that level, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, no, like that's not happening, you know. And I would rather, you know, do whatever it takes, right? And if that means, you know, you have to face the truth in front of people and tap shoulder, then it's what you got to do, and that's what you did. So yeah.
Hey, brother, first of all, don't die on me, because then I'm going to be stuck with the bill.
Yeah, we don't have to on either of us. So yeah,
that was awesome. Yeah, that was really good. Carolyn said she's had her OMG deals as well. Uh, it's kind of like it's kind of like if we really had the time, I mean, we could all share so much about it. I don't know, Carolyn, do you want to share a little bit about your deal while we're all in the let's learn from each other mode?
Yeah, we this was actually in Indiana. We had a property that was it was a cute property that we made bigger. So we were gonna make living space out of attic space, which would mean that we'd have to frame it differently. And the contractor that we got was I guess he wasn't as experienced as we had hoped. And the permitting process just went forever. And in Indiana, you should be able to get your permit within 3 to 7 days. But this went on for 3 months.
Wow.
And so we finally got the permit, and we went, and some of the things that I asked him to put into the budget, he said we didn't need to. And then when we got into it, we got our first change order, and then our second, and then pretty soon the budget was just blown out of proportion. So we asked him to try to cut in other places, and he refused. And so we sat down with him, and we ended up doing the awful thing of firing him. And he not only threw a fit, but he took all of our inventory and didn't return it. It turned into a legal battle that drew it out a lot longer. And we ended up taking a big, huge loss on that one, which was a really great learning experience, because I learned to be much more detailed in the process of getting the contractor to know what we want done. But we did lose a heck of a lot of money, because anytime you let go of a contractor, the new contractor takes everything apart and starts all over again.
Yeah.
So that was horrible. And we actually it took about 1.5 years to pay back our creditor.
Wow. So on that property, if you were to do it all over again, what are a couple of the lessons?
The things that I learned from you guys was to take a person that's much more experienced, and have them take the reins, and learn that way, learn from somebody that has already done it. And so when we brought our operation here to Hawaii, we had to start all over again, and we took it a lot slower. A lot of people felt that we were much more conservative, but that's okay with us.
Yeah, no, it happens. And Tay's going to be more conservative right now for a season as well because of what's happened to her. Anytime we have a loss, it just causes us to slow down a little bit. Sometimes it's the pride, right? We just are like, ooh, we're in multiple states, things are going great. And so we kind of don't watch the road, if you will, as closely. And then that's when accidents happen. And so, yeah, no, that's great. And then the other part too is I hear this from so many people, just like you said, is the contractor didn't perform, so there was all these things with contractors. And so more and more these days, I think a big lesson for all of us is, and Corey and I've had several contractors we've had to fire, and it's so hard because we felt like we did a good vetting. But most important when you're out of state like you are, then even more important to check tons of references and really get to know them, because that's hard. You're totally right. Because I mean, who knows? Maybe you were supposed to get a permit in 7 days, but your contractor just kept dropping the ball, which is why it took 3 months, right? Because
for them, it was a matter of getting the right architect to submit everything. And so the contractor was good. It's their choice of architect that held us up. And then they thought that we were trying to get the lowest bid, that's not how we do things. We want the right bid, not the lowest bid.
Yeah.
And we kept on telling them that we need to think about asbestos because it's mainland.
Yeah.
And when you're looking at walls, there's been multiple renovations, so the walls are, there's a lot more walls. You know,
Oh, yeah, yeah. They've been encapsulating stuff from before.
yeah. So you know, you're not ripping out one wall, you're ripping out 8. You know.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's great. But you're back and you're now doing deals, you're being smarter, you're going more carefully. And so you rebounded, right?
Yeah, and you know, people still they still tell me that I'm way too conservative, but I'm fine with that.
You know what? That's fantastic because you are fine with that. It's your pace. You know, could you make more money? Yeah, but do you sleep at night really well every single night and not have the stress you did back with that project? Probably. And you probably don't want to have to go through that ever again.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Corey and I've had our share of some. Well, Layla can even share in the stories that we've had some pretty difficult renovations early on, and man, losing sleep and the stress. It's just you don't forget that pain, and it does cause you to just be a little bit smarter as best as possible, but still not perfect, right? So you can only be as conservative as you can, but every deal is still so different. Oh, thanks for sharing. That is good. Yeah, Layla would be the first to say amen to lots of deals are very challenging. Well, I'm glad that you're doing well though. That's fantastic. Thanks for sharing. Hey, I see Karen on. What's up, Karen? How's everything in your neck of the woods?
Everything is going good. We just closed on a property yesterday
Nice. In Maui.
on Molokai.
Molokai now. Wow.
Yeah.
Good fun. Tell us a little bit more about the Lahaina property. You guys got a steal of a deal in Lahaina. What's happening with that one?
Oh yeah, that one. I'm just looking for one more renter, but we got that property back in February of last year, 2022. And we got it for a super sweet deal. And if anybody loves Lahaina, it's expensive market, right? But
Oh,
my
yeah.
husband, he's a good negotiator, right? So he negotiated the property down because it was really bad, and we got it for 260.
Just crazy.
And then, yeah, it is because we got it for just the land value. But anyway, long story short, of course we overspent and everything, but all in we were like 550, and then it appraised just this year at 1.1. So
Wow.
I have like over $1 million in equity in that one. And then of course my husband turned it into a 3-unit. So we have 2 units rented already. We're just waiting on one more tenant.
That's
Karen,
awesome.
killing it. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
That was a sweet deal. So like that was like a grand slam for us.
Yeah, those are those deals that you love to share about because you don't get those often. And when you get those, you're just like, man, this is amazing.
Right. Yeah.
That's
But
like
I'm-
life-changing kind of deal. Yeah. Karen, where did you guys find that deal?
It was a referral from my husband because he's a Coke dealer, right? He works for Coke. So he
Wait.
works
Coca-Cola, Greg, Coca-Cola. Yeah, not
Whoa.
not cocaine, not cocaina.
yeah, he deals with Coke and ice. So anyway. But anyway, yeah, he's all over the island. So a lot of people, all the vendors and stuff like that, he knows what he does. So it's all referrals. So it's all word of mouth. So he got that from a referral from a friend.
So off market, like direct. Yeah. Nice.
Direct sale. Yeah. Of course, we had, again, I'm glad you guys are talking about contractors because we're about to fire one contractor from one of our other projects.
Oh, I have your contractor. I have I got the guy for you.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. For like, yeah. I'm gonna text you right now. Don't ever call anybody else.
Oh, right. I have a good contractor on the central side, but our Lahaina one she's just, been terrible. They've been drinking on the property I never knew about, and he's just been dragging his feet. It's a small project too, and he's still not done yet. It's been way like almost 8 months already. So I need him out. But again, we have to cut our losses too on that one. So I'm kind of trying to see, I'm not the bad guy. So I can't just say, hey, you're done. My husband is the bad guy this weekend. So we're going to go through that this weekend.
Oh,
Well, I'll send you Sam's number. I don't I think they'll go out to Lahaina probably. He's
But
got
this
like
one,
20 guys on his crew, and they're amazing.
okay, perfect. Yeah, this one is in
We closed on
Kahului.
a rental on Monday, and the roof put a new roof on is done on Wednesday.
What?
Okay,
They're so fast, bro. It's insane. Yeah, insane. The floors were all demoed. The cabinet. I mean, we're almost done, and it's two houses, main house and cottage, and we're doing
cool.
full rehab. And he's like almost done. He's done tearing up all the tile. I mean, it's gonna take a little longer because we're gonna tile the main house instead of plank floors. But yeah,
That's
he's
amazing. What's your budget? Like, what are you paying him to go that fast?
I was planning on putting like 50 grand in, but now that we've kind of like every day that goes by, I'm like, you know what? Okay, yeah, let's change the countertops. Let's do some quartz. Okay, yeah, like you know, forget the planks. I wasn't even supposed to change the floor in the main house because it already had brand new vinyl plank floor. But the old tenant installed it, and so there was gaps, and you know, it wasn't right. And there was 3 different floors because they didn't do the bedrooms and bathrooms, and
Yeah.
we can't match that floor and all those things. So finally, it was just, you know, it was like, man, one thing led to another. But no, I think we're gonna end up spending about 80. So he's
Yeah.
cheap. I mean, considering like how
Yeah, it's
fast
pretty
he
cheap.
works and considering his workmanship, he does good work. You know, like I don't have to send him back to do stuff, you know, like there's always punch lists, but like, man, of all the guys I've worked with, this guy is just, I love this guy. So I love to refer him because we send him about between 10 to 20% of his business on a slow year. We probably go more like 25%. So the more I refer him, the better pricing I get and the better pricing that the people I refer him get. Like he automatically already, you know, gives me his best pricing to where he's making money, but he's also like he knows like we're gonna keep him busy.
Okay, send
So
him my way.
yeah, I'm gonna send you his number right now. He's amazing.
Sold. I want him too. I don't have anything. But I'm
There's
ready.
one contingency. You have to tell him that I referred you.
Of course, we'll do.
Yeah. I mean, it's for both of our interests. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Perfect.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So when you fire your contractor, what are you gonna do based on all that you've heard to make it not a nightmare?
Well, I because we did draws with him, so I kind of want to get my money's worth before I fire him. And I didn't know who the plumber was and everything because he's a GC, right? So I don't know who the plumbers are. So I kind of had to fish yesterday and ask him who's the plumber, who's the electrician, so that I can work with them directly. Because if I fire him now, he's not going to tell me all that stuff, right? Yeah. So I want him to at least I want to fish for all that first before I kind of give him the you're done.
Yeah.
So we're probably gonna take like a $30,000 loss. But again, I kind of switched my mindset where this property is sitting right when it can be rented out, you know, so it's kind of almost the same pretty much.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's never easy to fire a contractor because you lose momentum. And then just like Carolyn says, a new guy comes in and usually they're like, hey, how come it's done like this? We should do it this way. And then you're like, oh man, not only did I lose money, but now I got to go rip out stuff that I had done because the new guy says it wants it different, right?
yeah,
exactly. I think it's a matter of liability too, yeah. They don't want to be liable for someone else's work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What's that saying like Brandon used to say was that like one of the requirements of being a contractor is being able to go into any job and point out how everybody did everything wrong before, you know, it's like no matter how they do it, every contractor's like, oh, these guys, can you look at what they do, you know, this is all wrong, you know, I would have done it this way, you know.
Yeah.
Every time.
It's so true. It is so true. Even handymen are the same way. They're funny.
Oh yeah.
Right.
That was a great tip too for Karen is like, if you're you want to make sure like when you're gonna, you know, fire anyone, especially contractor, it's like, make sure, you know, you're strategic about it because you still have your investment to protect. Right. So like, yeah, get the names and info and the contact from everybody. And then, but what I've learned too is like when it's time to to cut someone out, make sure that you have all your ducks in a row first, and make sure like that's the end, you know, because people will try to pick at your heart and try to blame, point, and give excuses, and they may even make sense, but you know, you have to, when you make the decision, you know, like no half measures. So I'm sorry, it's already done. It's already in motion already. Got another crew come in. Like you gotta beat it, you know, in polite
Right,
words.
Corey, like my trick for that kind of stuff is my partner, you know, like right now I just had to send an email to a girl that's like a family, you know, she's actually the boss of like a family friend, and like whatever, we have a connection, right? And so she was applying for this rental and she was like begging for it and stuff, but like her income was tight, like she barely qualified, and I have much better applicants. And so I was like, man, I really want to help you out, but this is one of our high-end rentals now and I need to make sure we have the best tenant. And so yeah, my whole thing is like, you know, I met with my partner, and unfortunately he overruled me on this, and so, you know, like that's always what I say. So then like when they want to ask me for something, I always say I have to go talk to my partner first. Now I don't really have partners on any of my rentals, so I go home and I talk to my dog about it, but they don't know like that, you know, he doesn't have ownership. Oh, I wonder if I can put ownership in my dog's, like make him part owner.
You know what is it's funny? My husband does it all the time. He redirects everything.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm not the
all the
decision
time to
maker.
me.
Yeah.
And I do it
Yeah,
to
to
him.
me, it's like I don't want them to think I have any decision making authority, because then they're gonna ask me for stuff and on the spot. Like, you know, I always want them to think like I'm just the low man on the totem pole out here to, you know, check on your place and do your, you know, find your handyman and stuff like that.
You know, Robert had that in his book. He talked to his cat. That was his partner. I remember
is
that.
that?
Yeah.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Oh,
His
he
partner-
did?
Yeah, his partner was his cat.
Which
Yeah.
book is that from?
Rich Dad,
Rich
Poor
Dad.
Dad.
Yeah.
Is it really? Oh,
I
so
remember
I
that
haven't
part.
read it in too long, I guess.
Learned it from.
Yeah.
That
'cause he
must
would
be
put
where I
the
got it from,
subject to
yeah.
my partner's approval. Yeah,
Yeah.
subject to partner's approval. That doesn't work no more.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up, because I say that all the time, and I must have forgotten that it was from that book. So now I can cite him at least for it.
I don't know. You should just take the credit for it. It sounds so cool.
Well, nah, we've been in that position many times. I remember one time, like the plan, you know, Nicole's gonna be the bad guy, and I'll be the good guy, and then I ended up getting a conversation first. Things got heated. I mean, these guys owed us like 150,000. You know, it's kind of just walked off, and like I swear, I don't think I've like went that long for 5 minutes just nonstop on the phone. I hung up. I called Kiko back and was like, okay, sorry, bro. Like you gotta be a good cop. Because I was like, that plan went out the window, man. Like, so it's always it is easier to have a partner too, but you can always say like, hey, let me think about it, you know? And like it's really no difference. Like nobody deserves an answer right away if you're not ready to give an answer on anything, you know. So
Yeah, but the thing is, like for me at least, I'm too much of a nice guy. So I
Yeah.
want to just say yes, you know.
Yeah.
But like what'll happen is I'll be like, yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, no problem. You know what? Yeah, we'll drop your rep by 50%. That's cool. And then like I get in the car and I start pulling off and I go, what the fuck did I just do that for? That was so stupid.
Yeah.
So
you
like
know
by
what?
saying the
you're
partner
a go
thing,
giver, bro. That's why you're a go giver. You know, I'm going through with our new guys coming in, right? They flew in for 30 days. They're down here and training, just immersed in entrepreneurship and learning what we do. And it's so dynamic to see them learn some of these lessons, right? Like how to deliver bad news, and it's never easy, you know. And I learned so much from like you, Greg, and Kiko. Like Kiko is like,
what did you
I
learn
swear,
from me?
dude,
Lots, man.
like,
Lots.
You're
and
my mentor.
you know, well, I learned from everybody on the call, you know, because I pay attention to like little things too. But Kiko, what I wanted to point out is Kiko, for the years that we've been working together, right? And all through the trials and stuff, I've never seen him get angry ever. Like it to a point where like obviously frustrated and stuff, but like angry at somebody, So I've been trying to watch, okay, cool. How does he handle hard situations? Because he doesn't have to be mean, and like he's one of the nicest guys I know. And but he still gets things done, right? So I don't think it's not that because you're a nice guy. It's just finding the right way, right? To put things in motion, to inspire and to get people to move. Sometimes I think there's no hope. You just gotta cut them out quick, like Karen's doing,
I think too, we always talk about networking, building relationship and all that, right? And we don't want to burn bridges. So that's for me, I kind of get touched with that because you never know down the road, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small island too. It's a small world.
Yeah. Again, everything's integrity, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's so true.
Mm.
It's hard though. Contractors are their own breed.
I know. We're learning that now.
Yeah. Well, and we own a construction company too. So, we're on the other side of the equation, and we will say property owners are their own breed.
Right. Yeah, totally.
It goes both ways. But I think the key is when you're gonna fire somebody, so long as you had a really good scope of work and you have pretty good milestones and they can see that, hey, we haven't hit it, the firing doesn't have to be tragic because they just kind of know that, we've had these conversations along the way and the owners are not happy because I keep going late. And, so then in the end, when it's like, hey, I think it's just best if we find another route because, we're not getting the timeline that you had promised. And I feel bad because I know you promised it and you wanted to honor your commitment, but it's just not working out, And so then you make them feel like they want to get out.
I like that. I'm going to use that.
Yeah, no, seriously. It's like throwing it back upon them, but at the same time, it's affirming, but at the same time, it's also getting what you want because you want to fire them. But you're right, especially in the contractor community and then like an island like Maui, like there's only so many people and people talk and people know. So you kind of want to make it as positive as possible, but at the same time, you just don't want to ever see them again.
Right. Totally. Thanks.
Thank you for sharing, Karen.
Oh,
Good luck with that. Let us know. Maybe if keep us updated how that went. Yeah, we can all.
And then on top of that, thanks, Greg, for sharing your contractor. That's fantastic. That's the purpose of these calls.
Yeah, no problem. I sent it to you, Karen, by the way. Sorry, perfect. I gotta get my dogs real quick because the landscaper just got here. I'll be right back.
Okay, good, because I want to talk about Greg while he's gone. No, honestly, like Greg he's a go-giver, and that's why, like in the book, like it we just went over this with the guys. Like they talk about how, like, if you're a true go-giver, you will feel foolish at times. You will be made a fool, many times, because you open yourself up out there to give, and so you're leaving yourself vulnerable to be hurt and burned, so. But that feeling that Greg, you mentioned earlier, that's just a true sign that you're a go-giver, like the feeling of like, oh man, I left that place. I'm like, why did I do that? It's like, because in your nature, your core, like you are a go-giver, which is a good thing, and part of being a go-giver, sometimes you will feel foolish, and you're like, why did I do that? So like, that was such a confirmation, for me. So yeah. There's great lessons in that book, man. One of my faves.
For everybody's notice too, Greg posted a condo for sale in Kahului, 2-bedroom.
Wailea.
Oh, your listing says Kahului, bro.
Oh, that must be a mistake. It's Wailea.
Well, Redfin is giving you.
No, it's Kahului. I'm just kidding because it's at Harbor Lights. It's like the
right
war zone of Maui.
Nice. Can this one be used as an Airbnb at all, or has to be monthly?
It depends who you ask. If you ask me, sure, yeah. No, it can't. So it's zoned for vacation, for short-term use. It's zoned hotel, but the association bylaws require 6-month minimum rentals. So I'm on the board there, and we have tried to pass a vote to amend the bylaws, but it hasn't passed. So it's possible it'll get changed in the future. The other option is you just do short-term rentals and pay the association fines. You know,
What's the
like,
fines?
I don't know. I mean, if you get caught, I would guess like they probably will find you. I don't know. I'm on the board. I probably should know. I would guess like 250, maybe $500.
Or do
And I guess they-
rentals with our early termination, no penalty?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, there's ways around it. It just depends on what you want to do. I use them for HUD rentals because I feel like we desperately need low end housing for people that have subsidies and HUDs and stuff like that. So all mine are HUD and
Well,
they
that would
cash
say
flow.
$1,990 a month.
Yeah, it's below market, but I mean, I think it could bump up to 2,200 if you just send a rent increase.
Yeah.
But even as is, like right now, it's cash only because can't get title insurance on this unit. But it has so a cash flow is just for somebody that just wants to park cash. You got to be willing to just put 200 grand just to buy some cash flow, and which is what I did with it when I bought it. And net cash flow is 1,200 a month.
Get views or no views? Oh, it's ground floor, yeah.
Yeah, it's just parking lot view, no view.
Well, thanks,
Hold on,
Craig.
let me close my window because the landscaper.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? Actually, if I don't know if Jim and Loretta are on still, but they did have an event coming up they wanted to bring up. If you need more time, Jim or Loretta, then we can always bring you on next week too. But okay,
Hi,
guys.
thank
Have
you.
a-
Hi,
how you
nice to
doing?
see you. And I have to say, this has been such a good call, such good. And it's a shame. It looks as if Tay has dropped off. But if anyone is speaking to her, please let her know that I really do applaud her for what she said, what she's doing. And it's so right, Kakao, you say that we always hear about all the good things, the splashy things where on HGTV, where people make, $1 million a week. But we also know that it's the real world out there, and we do lose money. I mean, Jim and I, when we first moved into real estate, we lost almost $500,000 by investing in two separate companies. Both of them supposedly had good track records. One was in California. Timing was just wrong. We'd invested just over 200K with them. We believed in them. They were good people, but sadly, it was when there was the big market turnaround. They lost. Sadly, they all kind of disappeared off the earth, and we didn't get a penny back. On the other side as well, it's another 250K that we lent to a supposedly a very experienced company who we met through Fortune Builders. Yeah, I won't bore people with the details, but just wanted to let you know that we feel the pain. And I just loved what Tay said when she said she's going to do the right thing. She's going to just find a way to pay back her investors. That's exactly what we would do, and I think everybody on this call would do as well. And it was just so refreshing to hear that. So please pass on my a big hug all over today to Tay from me. But
I will definitely tell her. Thank you, Loretta. That does mean a lot. And just real quick, like, don't you see what happens here when like someone like that's why I want to call her and let her know. It's like that's leadership, showing vulnerability, being honest, and like so that we all can learn. It gives courage to the room. Now everyone's like, oh shoot, it's okay to talk about this stuff. I lost too. We should almost have a separate call just to talk about the losses, just to be like, like almost make fun of them in a way, because how do you it's hard to make light of a situation like that, but if we can, then maybe it makes it bearable enough that we can pull all the lessons we can from what happened, right? Like,
amen.
That's what's most important. So yeah, thank you for that, Loretta. I'll make sure T gets those words, so yeah, but please, you guys have something coming up, right? You want to talk about?
Yeah, thank you very much. So as some of you know, so Jim and I run L&J Properties, and we work very closely with our wonderful partner Fuzzy. We love what we're doing. We're continuing to do that, and we build affordable housing here on the Big Island. And then I wear another hat. I'm the executive director of Haleo Hawaii. We are a community land trust that provides affordable housing to working families of Hawaii County. And we are going to have our first annual benefit luncheon at the Fairmont Orchid here on the Big Island at the end of June, on June 28th. And if anyone's interested, I thought I'll pop the invitation in the chat box here. If you would like to come hear more about us, or go to our website, Haleo Hawaii, and hear about us. The objective of the luncheon is really to thank our donors and our investors and our supporters, and share ideas about how we're going to continue our mission of providing affordable housing across Hawaii for generations to come. There won't be any big speeches. It really is just a way of saying thank you. And yeah, we're thanking people with a nice lunch at the Fairmont. And I'll, if I may, just one more minute to tell you about one of the good things over at Haleo Hawaii, the Community Land Trust. We bought some land in HPP a couple of years ago, and then Haleo Hawaii used us, L&J Properties, with Fuzzy to build an affordable house over in HPP. We built that mostly with grant money. We got a grant from NAREIT that allowed us to build the property, put it on the market. We had it valued for something like, I think it was $345. And what the Land Trust does is we subtract the value of the land from the overall appraised value, and then so that makes the house affordable. And then we try and bring it down even further as well, so people can afford. So with that house on, it was an acre of land. We built, I think it was a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath, and it appraised for $345, and we were able to sell that for $190,000. So it's over a 50% discount we were able to give our family. They have to go through some qualifications. So you'd have to be a Hawaii resident. You'd need to be earning between up to 120 or 140 of AMI to qualify, and some other stuff. But I won't take the floor for too much longer, but it's because of that we really wanted to reach out to our donors and supporters to say thank you. So I'll send you the link, and if anyone's interested in attending, we'd love to see you. Thanks.
Yes,
Rob.
please. Oh, thank you, Laura. That's amazing. Actually, a property gets appraised for $345, and you can get it for around 100, or they can if they qualify.
190. I mean, that was good. We mightn't be able to do such a wonderful discount next time round. It depends on how many donors we get for the land, but we're always going to come in under market value. But we're also going to be careful, because we don't want to accidentally deflate the market and hurt the people around. But yeah, there's ways that we can do it.
That's awesome. Okay, what a great idea. Well, please, if anybody's like free, and especially on the Big Island already, or if anybody's willing to hop on over, then please look at the link. Thank you, Loretta.
You're welcome. Thank you all.
That was a great call. I got a lot out of that. Thanks, Greg. Thank you, guys. Have a great Friday. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys next week. Hello, everybody.
Aloha. Thank you. Bye.